Hello. I do have on in the background actually, I'm not sure. It just came on actually itself somehow. Like I had music on and I'm sitting with two cats right now. They're actually hairless cats. And this is my first experience being around hairless cats. At least that I can remember. Anyway, they're actually, especially the girl, there's a girl and a boy. The girl is more like a puppy in a hairless cat's body. It's really interesting. Anyway, she stepped on my computer and this came on. Spring to fall portal, Aries equinox, warmth vibration, which is so funny because the cats slept on me last night and they get so warm. Like, it's wild. So it's funny that this cat picked this. Well, not picked it, but you know what I mean. Wind chimes and kalimba, 432 hertz, March 2025. Okay. I was guided to read this for a reason because a friend of mine keeps talking about how she's really into wind chimes right now. So it's funny this came on. And the other day I kept seeing 432. So, and I was like, oh, okay, put on 432 hertz. And I just didn't do it. I was listening to other things. And then this just came on. So really interesting. The number 166. There's 166 likes. It was just 165 and it keeps changing. So weird. Usually when you like something or when the likes go up, the number changes, but it just keeps changing and staying at the same number. And also 166 reminds me of high school. When I graduate, my graduating class, I think was 266. And this high school that a lot of my friends went to was 166, and I confused them. And I remember back when we had AOL Instant Messenger, if you remember that, I put class 166, and my friend was like, dude, that's not the right height. That's the wrong graduating class. That's not the school you go to. I was like, oh. Anyway, for some reason that's coming up. So I don't know, maybe some of you are dreaming or having dreams about high school or having a lot of memories come about high school. I just saw a 20-year reunion. I don't know, there's something about high school coming up. And also this switching numbers so quickly, on the likes, reminds me of something almost when they draw the lotto, or there's something else that I'm getting a flash of and I can't quite get the wording for it. So we'll see if it comes through. As I said that, I saw multiple orbs come in, or the plasma fields are leaking in through this when I said that. I didn't mean to say leaking, so maybe someone here is experiencing a leak of some sort. Okay. Where is this going? Maybe some of you have asked that question recently, where is this going? Maybe it's a relationship, maybe it's a job, some other area of your life. I don't know. That seems to be coming through. You might hear the animals in the background. They're quite vocal. So I had written down, so interesting. Okay, I was clearing out, I have a notes tab that I keep notes for signs, synchronicities, the quick messages that come in. And I had written something down. I was clearing out some of the notes, and quantum shift plasma fields. I must have written that months ago. And I just realized I was talking about the plasma fields, and that has been coming through so strongly lately. So it's I was preparing for that months ago, and it just wasn't the right time to talk about it as much as it is now. Anyway, so there could be something there for someone. Muscadet, I wrote that down. I kept seeing that word for like a few days. There was like a type of wine, then a flower, and it just kept coming up in a short span. And the muscadet can symbolize purity, refined beauty, and nurturing. And interestingly enough, even though I wrote that down like maybe a week or 2 or 3 ago, I wrote later on habits and refinement. So I've been getting a lot of refining habits, habits coming up into focus. And then I had this really detailed dream about potatoes. It was obviously more than potatoes. But potatoes can symbolize like sustenance, nourishment. So among other symbolic meanings, but that really stood out to me, and that connection of the muscadet of purity, refined beauty, nurturing, and then this idea of sustenance and how we nourish ourselves and stuff. So whether this is you and or someone that you're really connected to or close to, it's like feels like there's going through this refinement period. So it will be different for everyone. It could be like someone starting to look at their habits and they're sort of in the beginning of this and making changes or wanting to make changes. And for some of you, it's like a refinement, like maybe you've been doing this for a long time, but there's a refining process happening. So if you feel really connected to someone, like how a lot of us say, like if we have a cord or some sort of like telepathic, really deep emotional connection, or like people call it like a spiritual connection. I'm just using phrases that you may recognize. They may be going through some sort of habit refinement or looking at their habits and trying to make some changes. Something feels like really stubborn, so it might be like whatever this is has been pretty deep rooted. Like I just felt a pain on the right side of my ribs, actually. So you may be feeling this empathically, being connected to someone. I'm getting that quite strongly. So of course, like we're always invited, I feel like, to refine and show up. And so it's not like to ignore your own habits. It's more like, it feels like whoever's listening to this most likely already went through a lot of that. And now, again, it's refining for you. And then I feel like I'm sort of over-explaining this, so I'm just going to kind of leave it there. And then the other person maybe like diving into some of the more brunt work. Which word is correct? Brunt? I think it's brunt. So another aspect that I've been feeling recently is the idea of like service to self and service to the whole, if you will. So I don't know if that's something you've been thinking about, or also if it's been coming up for you as well. I'll probably go more into that on the Patreon overflow, but I just wanted to sort of bring it up and see if that's something that's been coming up for others. Yeah, and it's like there's something about like entering deeper into, there's like a blanket term a lot of us use, spirit. Like when we talk about the other side of the veil, or piercing through the veil, or pulling layers back. Often we'll say like, oh, spirit, and this has been coming up a lot lately, like this paradoxical, like, yes, we're all wholeness and one and unity, and it's that simple. But then when we sort of peel back into the layers of that, it's like we start to see like nuance, and that what we call, maybe, I'm using air quotes, but you can't see me, spirit has different agendas to be, and it depends how we define spirit, of course, but getting into some of these, what is on the other side of the veil, as we call it. And again, that's maybe more of a metaphorical way to talk about it. But yeah, I've been wanting to broach that topic. And when I saw that I wrote down quantum shift plasma fields, and like shape-shifting plasma fields, and it's funny that the wind chimes came on, because a friend of mine who has been talking about them actually asked me a question. I don't know if she asked me a question or she brought up a question, and it got me thinking about like the different agendas that can happen in cosmic consciousness, let's say. And it's not that I haven't thought about this before. I've been thinking about this for years, but to actually start talking about it maybe more. Which segues this into, I've been seeing the number 243 and 2424. So 243, you may have heard me say this before if you've listened to some of the other transmissions. Always comes through for me as like sort of just like an angelic, you're not alone type of message, or like type of thing. So maybe someone just needed to hear that. Excuse me. And I looked up the number 2424. It basically was saying, but please, if you feel called to look it up for yourself, because we can get different messages, but essentially it was talking about this word patience. Angel number 2424 tells you to be patient a little longer, as parts of the bigger plan need to fall into place. I just got a Pinterest message, a notification about clean home, honor the sacred space. So that could be for someone, and maybe you've been doing that, or maybe that's something you've been wanting to do. So the right doors of opportunity present at the exact right time. For some of you, maybe you're calling in a new home or a home. And it says, rather than jump at the first thing that piques your interest, wait for clear and obvious signs. And as I said that, did you hear the ping in the background? It was another notification. Speaking of signs that present at the exact right time. Wait for clear and obvious signs that will guide you in the right direction. Do not be too hasty when making choices and decisions that will have long-term impacts on your life. It basically talks about just like not wasting your time and efforts on activities and people that don't support or bring joy. Of course, please take that with a grain of salt. Talking about how you like choosing to spend time on what suits your true self and resonates with your life purpose and mission. And then the last message at the bottom, if you are intuitively prompted to begin or expand a spiritually based practice or a service-based venture. Interesting that came up because it was talking about service to self and service to the whole. Trust that all will fall into place for you, and you will find opportunities and assistance with establishing the foundations that will lead to your desired result. Have faith and trust that your hard work in whatever way will bring rewards. And I also would like to clarify like what service to self, what I mean by that, and service to the whole, because I think we are in this era of like reclaiming, pouring back into ourselves. So when I say service to self, I don't mean not to take care of yourself or to put yourself first. In fact, actually coming back into unity, it's like when we realize how much more we honor ourselves than we have that. I think that's why the word overflow came through for me on Patreon. It's like when you have that overflow, then everyone can benefit. So in this context, service to self is more about only doing what's best for your personal, like, gain in terms of like, maybe power, greed, things that maybe wouldn't serve the collective evolutionarily speaking, into a unity-based hologram is the word that came through. And I wanted to record like last night, and I was feeling very, I just got a Charlie horse. Maybe not a Charlie horse, but one of those. I tried to move, so maybe someone here is having a little bit of like joint or groin issue or tightness. I've also been like ashy, like my skin has been ashy, and that's not usual for me. So definitely a shedding, another layer, letting go, shedding. Speaking of another layer and the veil and shedding, it really feels like this when I'm recording this, but of course, whenever you find it, it'll be perfect for you. The liminal space, between worlds, the hypno or hypnagogic spaces, in between wake and sleeping. Like you may be having moments where like you almost feel like you're dreaming, like maybe your dream world and like literally nighttime dream or daytime dream, daydreams are like sort of merging in with your reality. Like you may be having these like when we say between worlds, like you might literally, like the veil has been coming up this whole transmission. You might like literally be feeling like different versions of you or aspects of you are like merging together. Hence, one of the transmissions I just recorded was like timelines merge. So you can like literally be having these experiences in your daily life where you're like walking and you're like, whoa, like I almost feel like I'm in a dream. Or maybe you have like deja vu, and then a synchronicity comes and you're like, whoa, and then like something glitches and then you see an orb fly. Like you may be really starting to get into feeling like between worlds. And it can also come through as like a void space too. And you could be coming through multiple feelings within. I'm sorry, I'm giggling, but this adorable puppy cat just came under the blanket and like stood up, and she's just hilarious. So there's something about this. And these void spaces can feel, maybe a little confusing. Like I said yesterday or today, I really wanted to record, and like, I don't know, it was almost like I felt frozen. Like every time I would go to do it, I was like, something was like stopping me. Now it could have just been myself. Like maybe part of me was just getting in my own head. I'm honestly not really sure, but I just heard a door shut. And there's something about like, that analogy of like a surfer catching the right wave, like being patient and then taking action when the wave comes. So there's something about that. Let's see. So this leads me into the next aspect, which I will definitely be going deep diving on Patreon, on Overflow, on this, because I need to pause, but you won't feel it. Okay, so it's 11:12 on my clock right now, and I was just about to talk about 11:11 and the 11th Stargate network. So it's interesting that I took a pause at 11:11, because I was only gone for about a minute. Very interesting. I didn't realize that at the time. And so, there could be sort of like something coming in when you're least expecting it. And I know that's like I feel like I hear that and I'm like, okay, great. But I don't know. That's just what I'm getting. So, anyway, I kept seeing the numbers 11:11 yesterday, and I actually missed my stop. I was taking a train for the first time, like a specific train that I'd never been on before, and I was distracted. Someone sent me a video of the sit that I was coming to, and I was trying to like make sure that I was like getting the information, and I literally missed my stop. And I got off, and I was like, okay, so I got off at the next stop. It was like almost an hour walk. So I decided to just walk, and I kept seeing 888 and 1111, and then I heard like the Lyran gateway, the cradle of Lyra, and I was being shown like as I was walking, like just different excuse me, and hearing different connections to Lyra. And then I was just like, sometimes I am still working on like not, what's the word, just like really, I like really ask for confirmations, you know. And it's funny because I've been doing this for a while now, and I'm honestly trying to let some of that go. Speaking of letting things go, because I feel so grateful that I've had so many confirmations that I'm actually like, okay, like trusting myself more. But when I got to the town that I was supposed to get off the train at, actually, I turned around and there was just like in big letters, Lyra. And I was like, are you kidding? So it was like, I rarely see the word Lyra just like around, you know? So that felt like a pretty good confirmation. So I decided to talk about it today. And I like laughed out loud so hard. Anyway. There was a, I'll say, connection point that really drew me in. So I was briefly scrolling through the 11th Stargate network and Ascension Glossary, and by the way, you may be feeling really distracted lately, or that might be coming up. It doesn't have to be for everyone, but I have been like very distracted, and yeah, it just feels like the energy right now, again, like very Neptunian, Piscean, like I've been finding it like a little bit hard to ground, if you will. So that could be for someone. It could also be like the flip side of that. Like maybe for some of you, it's like you feel extremely grounded and you're having a little bit of a hard time like letting go into the ethers a little bit. So it could be a little different for each person. But I know there's a lot going on, like when I'm recording this astrologically. I saw someone say there's like, I believe, a Neptune Kazemi, and there should be like some sort of Aries, something with Aries is coming in. We're getting into Aries season, so I think, anyway, just some of that coming through. And the Schumann resonance has been like a hot topic lately, and there's something coming with like the idea of the Schumann resonance. Like, we've been going through that, like, some people are calling blackout, frozen, and of course that liminal space. The dryer where I am, it's so loud right now. Yeah, and I paused, so I don't remember where I left off, but interestingly enough, my cursor on the computer, on my laptop, like hovered over something that I didn't even realize until right now. And when I saw on the timer 2343, for me, that's a number of like sacred union, coming into union in some way, you know, internally, externally, however you'd like to put it. Excuse you. The cat is trying to drink my beverage. And as I was seeing that number, and then I looked up and saw that there was a hover. It's over, there are 3 original primal sound order fields that make up the ray aspects of our entire universal creation in the universal time matrix. The solar rishi are the first triad of light manifestations that make the universal trinity that are projected from the emerald order. There's more, but that's all that popped up. And then there's a visual of like a gold liquid plasma ball with a gold ray, a blue ray, and a violet ray. So I just wanted to weave that in because it's like linked through Pegasus and 11D Avion. And like I said, I will go deeper into that on Patreon or the Overflow. And I was talking about a connection point and something that drew me in. So when I was in Belgium a few months ago, one of the previous volunteers came back for a visit, and so I got to briefly meet her. And I had a dream about Surrey, England. I've never been to England. Well, out of the airport anyway. And I was like guided to tell her about it, and I think her husband had been like working in Surrey, England a little bit here and there. And when I clicked on this link for the 11th Stargate Network, it was talking about some of the locations, and one of them was Surrey, England. And I was like, oh, wow, because it came through my dream so strongly. And honestly, I had never heard of Surrey, England, so it wasn't like I just read about it. Like, I didn't even know Surrey, England existed, to be honest. Well, part of me did, I guess, but... So I wanted to just read that, like, a little location because it really drew me in. Let's see. So the location is the 11th Trinity Gate. And I've honestly been super hesitant to talk about a lot of the stuff because I know it sounds like crazy sci-fi stuff. Not to say use the word crazy in that way, but when I'm really led somewhere, you know, to try and understand it from multiple layers, I really do take the time to sit with it and see. So yeah, it was just standing out to me so strongly. And the 11th Trinity Gate, of course, when my computer all the way down the page, by the way, I guess the cat knocked it again when I got up. It was hovered over the Trinity primal sound fields that I just read. So yeah, so synchronistically, the primal sound fields coming through. And I did also want to like weave back in a little bit of... I tried to write about this experience the other day and share it on Instagram, but it just was not happening. So I'm going to talk about it now. And this can be perhaps some of you have been working on or setting your intentions, like learning how to receive more deeply. And right now I'm in California and I'm staying with my sister and brother-in-law, niece and nephew, off and on house sits because my sister's going away for a night. And I know it just sounds like one night's not a big deal, but she has 2 kids under 3 and it's a very big deal. So she asked if I could come help. Anyway, so I'm here and I was leaving one of the sits to come back to her place, and I was going to take the bus and a train, or I was going to take, honestly, I don't know the public transportation in San Francisco that well. I just use the map and then follow the map or whatever. Anyway, so I was about to take the bus, and my sister was like, we'll just call you a lift. Like, it's just let us call you a lift. And I was like, no, like, it's fine. I'm going to take the bus. Like, it's not a big deal. And she was like, you can argue with me, whatever. I'm going to call you a lift. And honestly, I'm so glad that she did, because it was on St. Patrick's Day, which I didn't even realize it was St. Patrick's Day. And I just happened to look up in the sky on the lift on the way back, and there was like a little bit of a rainbow. And I was like, oh, and I sent her a picture. It was just like a partial rainbow. And then when I got dropped off at her place, there was a full-fledged, like, arched rainbow. Like, it looked like straight out of a book, you know? And when I walked in the house, I was like, oh my God, did you guys see the rainbow? And she was like, what are you talking about? Like, no one even saw it. So she has the window, her living room window faces exactly where the rainbow was. So we all went, I know this sounds like super silly, but myself and my nephew went into the room, and that was his first rainbow that he's ever seen, like IRL. You know, he's like heard of rainbows, but he's never like seen one. And like so cool to witness. He's going to be 3 soon. Like someone's first rainbow. I don't know. It sounds so cheesy, but like if I would have taken the bus, I would have missed that. And he might not have even seen the rainbow because no one in the house was seeing it. So I don't know. There's something about like it being on St. Patrick's Day, and I've been listening to quite a bit of like subliminals. Oh, and a lot about Ireland is coming through. Like Irish, luck of the Irish. I don't know. That's been coming through pretty strongly. I'm not sure. I know. I just looked. There's also some like gateway portal connections or Stargate connections. And we can talk about what Stargates are. There's other people talking about this as well if you're curious. And of course, I think it's very multi-layered. Like with this, the Ireland seems to be coming through really strongly. And the more I tap in Avalon, the mists of Avalon have been coming through. They were really coming through my dream time strongly, like I would say like a year ago. And I'm being shown right now that like whatever was being seeded through then is starting to like bloom now. So I feel like there's going to be like, if we want to call it the Fae realm through the mists of Avalon, the cradle of Lyra, the Lyran gateways. And if you're hearing any of this and you're like, I have no idea what you're talking about, I'm hearing it's meant, that's why I use the word transmission. It's meant to, if of course only if you're drawn to it. Layers will be revealed in time. But yeah, feel free to like, if there's something specific, feel free to like comment, or maybe you've been having some experiences and this is just touching on that. And yeah, so after this rainbow experience, I just kept seeing symbolism. Of course, I know it was St. Patrick's Day, so it's like common, but the gold, the gold at the end of the rainbow. And, it's like that delicate balance of like, I know this sounds so cliche, but it's like enjoying the journey so much that like the gold just at the end of the rainbow is that bonus, but it's like the gold is dispersed throughout the journey in the rainbow. I know, yeah, that's just what I'm getting. So Ormus gold could be relevant for someone. I made a transmission talking about Ormus gold, and I plan to do another one in time. I still have some left, so I'll probably make another tincture or something with it in the near future. I know we have if you're in the northern hemisphere, spring is coming forth soon. Equinox, so we're having like a partial solar eclipse. We just had a lunar eclipse, and a lot of these celestial events are, I hear a lot of people say like we're fast tracking, so I have to sit with that. I mean, our perception of time, I will say, is, and I've been talking about this for a while, through the Aurora time spiral transmission. I talk more about this, but yeah, I do feel like there's like I wrote, like shape-shifting in our plasma holographic templates. So I feel like those of us are starting to feel that and perceive it and actually integrate it. Yeah, I think that's a nice place to end. So thank you so much. If you would like to go deeper in some of the 11th Stargate, Network Ascension Glossary paragraphs that are coming through. I will go where I'm guided, and I usually also bring through whatever it is that I'm feeling as well. And yeah. Okay, thank you.